So we're picking up where we left off talking about with the Alphabet Ready grant and our Alphabet Ready story times using Plickers as a possible assessment tool. So what we hope to do is give each child a card like this. Kind of looks like a simplified QR code, and each card will be different, and then ask the children to turn that card based on a prompt. So say we gave them a prompt before we had story time, and we said which picture below begins with the sound that is made by letter T. And we'll ask them to pick, yellow, black, blue, or red, and have those dots on the back of that card so that they could hold the color at the top of the card that they are choosing. Then at the end of story time, we would give them those same cards back, ask them the same question, and just see if there were more children that knew which picture made the sound of letter T. So that may or may not work, something that we just want to experiment with in year 3 of the grant. That's the best assessment idea we've come up with so far. So what are people saying about Alphabet Ready? This is from a kindergarten teacher. She wrote and told me, "I've been inspired and in awe of the excitement that comes with storytime. What I like most about storytime is how flawlessly the activities use movement, sound, books, songs, visuals, and rhymes to teach one letter. I want to create that kind of excitement when I teach phonics. I do believe that all the components of Storytime have made a difference in letter recognition, sounds, and recognizing letters in the environment. We are appreciative of the field trips to the public library and the Storytime lessons. The impact has been incredible for the kids, but also for the teachers." And then the director of student services in Ashe County of the K-3 curriculum, when I told her that in Watauga County they had allowed the teachers to opt in to whether or not they wanted us to come and present the story times, and did she want to give her teachers the option to have us come. And she said no, she did not want any of the students to miss out on this opportunity because a teacher decided that she didn't have time for this in her classroom. So we felt like that was a vote of confidence from, the director of student services. And then there was a learning specialist who said the ABC backpacks have been fabulous as I have engaged families in early intervention sessions. Each bag holds a consistent set of activities. As families work through the wonderful activities, it reinforces so many things ranging from pre-academic to expressive language to fine motor. The backpacks were thoughtfully put together with fabulous books, engaging fine motor manipulatives, and puppets. They are a wonderful resource for parents and professionals alike. And the youth services librarian sent me this email about a family, and she said, "If you knew this family, it would make you cry. The grandmother teaches a child with learning difficulties and was at the end of her rope. She checked out the letter C backpack, and it was the thing that got his attention, and now he says C and spots C's everywhere." So what have some of the obstacles and challenges been for us? The first thing is just knowing how much to do and when, and what's a good fit for one library might not necessarily be a good fit for another library, and just making allowances for other people's schedules and times and commitments and priorities. And then something I was kind of unprepared for was the reading wars, which I didn't even know really existed, and that it sounds kind of like phonics might be the arch enemy of a whole language approach to reading. So when one of our pre-K classrooms, a different organization took over the responsibility for that pre-K classroom, and so I went back to ask permission to come to that pre-K for a second year, and the administrator said she really did not want us saying things in our story times like T says in tiger. And I explained that because the focus of our story times was alphabet recognition and phonemic awareness, that would be a pretty impossible thing to leave out. So they did allow us to do the story times kind of on a 6-week trial basis, and I'm happy to say that after those 6 weeks, they did feel like everything we did was developmentally appropriate, and they are allowing us to go into two more of their classrooms in year 3 of the grant. Scientists say it takes approximately 400 repetitions to create a new synapse in the brain, unless it was done by play, in which case it takes 10 to 20 times. So that is from Katie Garner with Secret Stories, and I feel like our story times are so much play that it's why it has turned out to be effective for the kindergarten and pre-K students. And then, communication has been a challenge to communicate with so many people, with the teachers, with the administrators, with the storytime providers, and then especially trying to communicate with the parents what it is we're doing and that we're coming from the public library to offer these enhancements to the learning that their children are getting. And then it was a real struggle to find books for early readers when we made that the emphasis of what we wanted to build our library collections with. And I was starting to feel like it was my own ineptitude, but then I went to the North Carolina Reading Conference, and there they talked about that actually the earliest readers of leveled readers, the A through D, that the words in those books, only 42% of them are decodable. So that helped to explain why I was having such a hard time finding decodable books to include in our library collection. So that was a bit of an obstacle. And then the same game, different rules. I had no idea after we'd been working with Watauga County for a year. I thought everything would go exactly the same in Ashe County, but there are slightly different rules to follow depending on the county and the educational system that is in play in that county. So that took a while to navigate as well. So some of the positive surprises that have come about in the Alphabet Ready grant was learning that Usborne Books, which we bought books to give away to the students, and Usborne does a grant matching program. So we were able to get some pretty high quality books because they met us halfway for, if we spent $1,000 on books, they gave us $1,500 worth of books because of their grant matching program. And then Lakeshore, I found out, has an e-procurement program, which when you purchase things from Lakeshore, they calculate the shipping based on the total of your order. So there's no way to order enough things that you would ever get free shipping unless you sign up for their e-procurement program, in which case everything you get has free shipping. So that, I felt like, saved us some money, and I'd like for others to know about that opportunity. And then the field trips, bringing the kindergarten students to the public library on field trips, was a wonderful positive surprise that came about as a part of our grant. And then, it was kind of a surprise to realize we as librarians kind of had a place at the table when educational things were going on. Would be invited to attend to just represent the library and to have the library say in what ways we could support the education that was going on in the individual counties. And then in year 1, I really experienced some decision fatigue because I had to make decisions about everything. So a positive surprise for me was hiring the library literacy liaisons in year 2 because they helped with that decision fatigue. They came with some ideas of their own that I feel like made the program even better. I do feel like the more people we have talking about the same topics, the better we're able to create, we're able to enhance our programs better. And then, a positive surprise that I hope to see in the future. Well, I started off the whole Alphabet Ready, exploring an Alphabet Ready grant because of the quote about governors using third grade reading scores to determine how many prison beds they might need in the future. So I do hope that 15 years from now, there might be the positive surprise of incarceration rates being lowered in Ashe and Watauga counties because of this push that the library has done to support early literacy in the schools. So that's all for this presentation, unless you have any questions, and feel free to leave questions in the comments section when this is posted on the YouTube video, when it's posted on our YouTube channel. So thank you very much for your interest in our program.